All right, so I'm going to talk about the course. After you submit the staff demographics and staff assignment, you are then going to submit the 2 files associated with the student course section. You're going to submit your courses first, and they're described as a unique instance of the course taught by one or more teachers in a specific location and time. The reason why we included that definition from the CFS is because you don't want to confuse a course with the class, where the class is specific to the group of students receiving the curriculum. The course is more about the curriculum of instruction. And then the student course section is really simply a file type that allows you to associate or enroll the students into those courses. And then the students that are going to be reported are going to be all of the students that are not on a non-ADA enrollment or in a private school. So any student with an enrollment status 10, they're going to be reported what courses they are receiving. Your secondary students as well, and your short-term enrollments. And the reason why, and these are all students who are enrolled on census date. And the reason why, you have to report your primary enrollments because you will receive a fatal error if you do not. But your short-term and your secondary students, they trigger warnings, and it's not going to prevent you if you don't certify them. But essentially, the CDE wants to know, why is the student enrolled if you're not providing some sort of curriculum? Why would you have them enrolled with a short-term or a secondary enrollment if they're not enrolled in the course? And so you will receive warnings. Again, 50 non-ADA students, private school students are not reported, as well as I'm pretty confident, it's been several years, I'm sure MPS school students curriculum is not required as long as they're at the MPS school code and the school of attendance. And then adults and preschool students are not required. We're talking specifically about kindergarten through 12th grade. And so you're going to be reporting both self-contained and departmentalized courses. Self-contained courses are, of course, multiple subject courses. Typically, you would see these in the elementary school. However, they're not limited to elementary school. And then your departmentalized courses are single subject courses. And typically, you see these in secondary, middle schools, and high schools. Then again, they're not exclusive to middle schools and high schools. Self-contained curriculum could be in secondary level. There are some elementary schools that do offer departmentalized courses. Just about every elementary school does, if you have pull in, pull out instruction for specific students. All right, so your self-contained courses, whether it's kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, right? Anytime it's multiple subjects in one environment, one class, one course, it's going to be state course code 1000. And typically, again, that's KN through 6th grade, but not limited to. And then your independent study courses, you have the flexibility with independent study reporting them as a single class, right? Or as individual subjects. And then your 7,000 to 8,000 series are your CTE courses. And then your 9,000 series are your academic content areas, okay? That's your math, your foreign language, your science, so on and so forth. Those are your core courses. Those are your electives. Typically, they're in secondary level, but something like PE or music that you might find in elementary school are departmentalized. Even English language development instruction is a departmentalized state course code. The generic SEID of all nines, or 9999 as I like to call it, can be used to report courses where you do not have a credentialed teacher, all right? And so there are some scenarios in which we would not expect you to have a credentialed teacher. So college courses are the most obvious, right? If your student's attending community college or four-year university through some program or what have you, if they're receiving college credit or dual credit for those courses, we don't necessarily expect that staff member to have a SEID. And then it's important to remember that if it's not a CTE course, use the designated college course codes to report these courses. Other scenarios might be ROP teachers. While the CDE will talk about this on Thursday, if you go to the YouTube channel and watch Brandy's assignment monitoring training, she has said that many of the ROP staff members do have SEIDs. However, you may not have access to this and their information. And so it's perfectly acceptable to report, those ROP instructors with the 999 as well. However, the important thing to understand is because of assignment monitoring and the way CTC ties the SEID member to their credentials and authorizations, they really are encouraging LEAs, if you can report your staff member SEID, to report the staff member SEIDs, whether they're an employee of your LEA or not. If you don't have access to it, it's not anything punitive. At most, you can have a possibly a misassignment, which you would just have to explain later. And so before you do any reporting for Fall 2 courses, right, you want to do some things to ensure you have accurate data in your SIS. And so you're going to want to determine the content of the course, which standards are used to develop the course, what are the grade level standards being taught in the course. You want to make sure that you do not choose a course based on the teacher's credentials, right? Algebra 1 course should be consistent throughout, regardless who's teaching it. Likewise, a third grade class has the same curriculum, whether you have 1 third grade course or 4, right? All those third grade students are expected to learn the same information. And then you want to identify the method of instruction if any part of the course is provided online during this academic term for which you're reporting. We want to talk about EL services and how they're reported, right? That's a big part of reporting your course records. And there's going to be 3 elements. First, the student has to be an EL student. You're reporting your EL students in Fall 1. Those students who are identified as English learners on Census Day are going to then be required to be enrolled in a course that has the Education Service code populated, all right? And so your SELA record will identify your EL students. Then the course has to have the Education Service code populated. Even if the course specifically does not provide EL instruction, you would want to populate that with a code 5, right? No services. And then you have to enroll students into these courses. So those are the 3 elements used to report EL services that are going to be reported in Fall 2. Again, we do understand that there's other ways, right? There's the LIP program in Fall 1, but we're not addressing that. We're just specifically talking about what's being reported on 2.4, 2.5, and 2.7 EL services provided. That information is derived from the Education Service Code field. It only is applicable to students that have an EL designation on Census Day, not IFEPs, not RFEPs, certainly not EO students, regardless if they're in the class or not. And then student course sections, right? Your students have to be enrolled in these course sections. And there's a hierarchy that we'll talk about when we look at the reports.
Okay, so part of this year's submission is the reporting of post-secondary status for Fall 2. So this only applies to LEAs who have high school students who basically graduated or completed the high school last year, and who needs to be surveyed to determine if they are in college or in work-related jobs. I mean, in jobs that's in relation to their CTE Pathway completers that they did at any point during high school. So let's discuss that. So if you're elementary or middle school, then this is not something that you should be worrying about. Okay. So for post-secondary status, these are your students who graduated or completed high school last year, meaning in the 1920 period, who were CTE pathway completers at any point during their academic enrollment in the district, and also who were and this is just optional. This is not required, but there's an option for you to report them who are participating in California Partnership Academy program. Okay. So you have to survey these groups of students to determine if they're working, they're in school, they're in the service, based on those CTE pathway completers. The PSTS submission started last year. This year, we have 4 new codes that you could report a staff member based on their survey results. So you're just basically, if a student could be in a state apprentice program, 360, other job training program, the Peace Corps or AmeriCorps. And then how do you identify these students? So there are ways to do that. If your SIS is robust enough to be able to generate your survey list, meaning the list of students that you need to survey, then by all means go to them and extract the file and start surveying your students. If not, then you can always depend on CalPads. However, you have to run multiple reports multiple times to be able to get your list. So there are 2 reports that you have to run. First is your ODS report 8.1A for 1920, 19, no, 2019, 2020. And then once you have that list of completers, you then filter it to those who were 2 students who were CTE completers at any point during their academic enrollment at the high school. So you can run CTE completers for 2019, 2020 to cover for those high school students, high school seniors, 2018, 2019 for those who completed CTE Pathway during their junior year, and 2017, 2018 for those who completed their pathway during sophomore year. Okay. So here is a survey in a nutshell. I'm a visual person, so maybe there are some of you who are more effective using visual aids. So I created this. So you have to run ODS report 8.1A for 2019-2020, filter for E230 as the exit code, and these are the selected completion codes you have to choose. And then you have to filter for grades 11 and 12. So you have your subset of completers. Now you need to determine who were CTE pathway completers within that subset. So you run report end of year 1 report 3.15 for 2019-2020, and then run it 3 times in with these 3 different filters. So for 2019, filter for 12th grade, 18, 19, 11th grade, 2017, 10th grade. Okay, and then if you'll notice, you have your Perkins-CTEIG Fundable all, meaning just because your school isn't CTEIG fundable, then you don't have to survey. No, everyone who completed a pathway, regardless if the school isn't funded by Perkins or CTEG, should be surveyed. Okay, and this is just for CTE pathway completers, not for concentrators. Okay. And then, so here is a visualization of the report. So on report 8.1, filter for 2019-2020, filter for 11 and 12 grade, for enrollment status 10 and 30, and then exit reason code E230, and then your completion status, which is identified here. Okay. And then these 2 filters here is actually the key to getting your survey. So this the from date should be from 8/16/2019 up to 8/15/2020. This represents your students who completed high school during this time. So this is your completer and dropout reporting period. Okay, 8/16/2019, 8/15/2020. So once you've established your list of completers, then of course, as I've mentioned, run report 3.15 for 1920 and run it 3 times. Okay. So first of all, run the academic year. CTEG should be all, and then CT participant type should be completers. Okay. So it should be all, meaning you have Y and N. And then run this 3 times. 12 for 12th grade. Then of course you have 2019. For 11th grade, you have 2018, 2019. And for 10th grade, um, 2017, 2018. So once you've filtered your list, then of course you then go on and survey the your students, right? So when you survey your students, they should come back with with answers, right? Of course, you can survey them through traditional ways, email or call or snail mail, or you can do social media as well. So in the CalPAS user manual, on the PSTS page, you can download the updated PSTS survey template for this year. And then you also have here a template guide that provides you guidance on where to report those answers based on the questions. Okay. So you can go to the CalPAS user manual and look at that. And then there are also FAQs based on common scenarios that LAs encounter and have asked questions to CDE about last year. So that's it for the survey template. This is actually, I got this from the CTE webinar. So they had a PowerPoint presentation and I just put it on a table. You can always reference this on your phone or tablet, computer, because it's web-based. Okay, so how to submit Fall 2 PSTS records? You can submit it through batch file and online maintenance. Okay, so for batch file, you extract your PSTS for CTE completers from your SIS. So for Fall 2, your PSTS records is extracted from your SIS because these are your CTE completers. But for end of year 4, which you also have to submit PSTS for, these are for your special education students. So you have to extract that from your SEDS system. Okay. So upon upload, if a record passes validation, CalPAS automatically posts the record. So don't be surprised if your PSTS post all button is grayed out. If it passes validation, then it automatically gets posted. Okay, and then of course you have your online maintenance where you can add, modify, and delete PSTS records. Online maintenance is key if let's say your SIS don't have the ability to generate multiple PSTS records for your student. So let's say if your student had multiple survey results, hence you have multiple PSTS records, course, you should be able to report multiple PSTS records to CalPAS. If your SIS isn't equipped to do so, you can always just submit your first PSTS record and then manually add the additional record in CalPADS. Okay, so